Bird really ever liked Laimbeer in any social situation.
No.
Yeah.
And it's because he was a dirty player. And, he was one of them guys, you shoot a jumper, he tried to slide his foot underneath your ankle so you twist your ankle. And
find open people.
Sting, and the 24-second clock goes down, and Bird and Laimbeer go at it.
January 29th, 1985. Boston versus Detroit. With the game hanging on a single possession and only 2 seconds left on the clock, the Pistons believed they had the perfect answer drawn up. Force the ball to the corner. Take away the middle. Crowd Larry Bird the moment he catches it. Make the shot as difficult as possible. The inbound comes in, and Bird receives it exactly where Detroit wants him, pinned near the sideline. No space, no time to think. But Bird doesn't hesitate. In one motion, he turns over his shoulder, jumps off one foot, and fades away toward the baseline, releasing the ball as the buzzer begins to sound. It's not a clean look. It's not a safe look. It's a shot built on instinct, balance, and total confidence. When it drops, the arena erupts and Detroit stands frozen. That moment was bigger than a game winner. It was a message. The Pistons had tested Bird with physical defense and late game pressure, and he answered with one of the coldest shots of his career. From that night on, Boston versus Detroit stopped being just another matchup. It became personal. The shot in the corner. That shot didn't end the game. It started a rivalry that would be built on hard fouls, constant jawing, and a growing belief in Detroit that the only way to beat Larry Bird was to borderline end him on the floor. Before hitting the game winner, Larry Bird had already set the tone early. He poured in 15 points in the first quarter alone, and it all stemmed from one Pistons defender. You might assume it was Rick Mahorn or Bill Laimbeer, the usual names tied to Detroit's physical edge. It wasn't. It was Kent Benson.
The center is Kent Benson. Most people think he'd be better off as a power forward, but Benson from Indiana in his 5th year is the center.
Kent Benson and Larry Bird shared a quiet but bitter history that stretched back to their brief overlap at Indiana University. When Bird arrived as a freshman, Benson was already an established upperclassman, physical, vocal, and firmly entrenched in Bob Knight's program. Bird felt unwelcome almost immediately. Benson's treatment of him, whether through on-court physicality or off-court coldness, reinforced the sense that he didn't belong. Isolated and frustrated, Bird left Indiana early, a decision that stayed with him long after he transferred to Indiana State and rebuilt his career. Bird never forgot that period. He rarely did. Years later in the NBA, when Benson lined up across from him, Bird didn't need words to settle the score. Instead, he orchestrated his revenge the way he always did, by attacking him in every possession.
24-18, 6-point game. Bird just kind of playing with Benson over there. Gave him about 5 fakes and hits.
Even when Bird didn't have the ball, Benson didn't have it easy. Whenever Benson guarded Kevin McHale, Bird made sure McHale got the ball, over and over, forcing Benson to defend possession after possession. Later in March, with Bird orchestrating and Benson stuck on him, McHale erupted for a career-high 56 points, etching another chapter in Bird's personal vendetta and turning the early clash into the foundation of the Celtics-Pistons rivalry.
Boy, Benson is really leaning all over McHale. They find him, and he 2 taps and it's home.
Later in the game, Bird strode over to Isaiah Thomas and delivered a message that was both strategy, confidence, and intimidation. He made it perfectly clear. Never match him up against a white guy.
I got Kelly, I got Lamb, I got Benson. He's like, you ain't got no brothers? He's like you. He's like you.
Disrespecting me.
That's what he said.
Straight up.
That's exactly what he said. He said, hey man, you can't put no white dude on me.
Hey,
that is straight disrespect.
Bird was sending a statement not just to Thomas, but to the entire Pistons team. Respect him or pay the price. That small moment was emblematic of Bird's mindset. calculating, bold, and always a step ahead, laying the groundwork for one of the NBA's most iconic teams in history. By the mid-1980s, the Detroit Pistons weren't just a team. They were a statement. Known as the Bad Boys, they embodied a physical, in-your-face style of basketball that left opponents battered, frustrated, and rattled. Rick Mahorn, Bill Laimbeer, Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman, and a cast of hard-nosed warriors took pride in pushing the boundaries, turning every matchup into a battle of wills.
I mean, that Piston team, that was the rise of that Pistons team when they ultimately got to the championship seasons. They started to get the Rodmans. They started to get the Aguirre. They had Adrian Dantley, for a few years. So they were a very, very tough team to beat because now they started to build that personality of the Bad Boys, And I remember playing against them, and that series was brutal.
They didn't just play the game, they imposed themselves on it. Trash talk, rough defense, and intimidation were their weapons, and anyone stepping onto their court quickly learned that Detroit demanded respect. The Celtics, led by Larry Bird, were about to find out just how personal these battles could get. Bird's intelligence, precision, and competitive fire clashed perfectly with Detroit's relentless physicality. Each possession against the Pistons tested patience, skill, and toughness. Boston wasn't just playing a team. They were facing a wall of force, a group that thrived on confrontation and thrived off breaking stars mentally as well as physically. In Game 3 of the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals, the intensity between the Celtics and Pistons had reached a boiling point. Larry Bird, already carrying the weight of Boston's hopes, found himself on the receiving end of a brutal hard foul from Bill Laimbeer. The contact was vicious, a signature move from Detroit's enforcers, and it immediately sparked tempers.
They got that master man there trying to find open people.
Sting, and the 24-second clock goes down, and Bird and Laimbeer go at it. I don't remember Larry Bird getting as angry as I saw him there.
In the chaos, both Bird and Laimbeer were ejected, a rare moment that symbolized just how personal this rivalry had become. It wasn't just about the foul, it was about pride, respect, and the battle for supremacy in the East. Bird had been tested by physicality before, but the severity of the Bad Boys' tactics and Laimbeer's role as their enforcer made this confrontation a turning point. By Game 5 of the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals, the tension between Boston and Detroit had reached a fever pitch. Robert Parrish had a personal score to settle with Bill Laimbeer after the brutal foul and scuffle in Game 3. Early in the game, Parrish made it clear that Detroit's physicality wouldn't go unanswered.
By Darren Day, it doesn't fall. The tip by Parrish. He can't get it to fall, and Parrish takes Laimbeer to the ground with a right forearm.
He delivered a punishing move on Laimbeer, hitting him on the face from behind, setting the tone for the rest of the contest. Everyone knew Parrish's move was payback, a clear act of retaliation, and the Pistons could feel that Boston wasn't just responding, they were fighting back. But the defining moment came at the final seconds of the game, and it belonged to Larry Bird, with his trademark anticipation and cerebral approach to the game. Bird read a Detroit pass perfectly, swooping in to steal the ball cleanly from Thomas on an inbound pass. Every step, every movement was calculated. Bird didn't just create a turnover, he created a statement.
So I run over and I grab the ball, and this is probably one of the most incredible plays that's ever happened against me and that probably I've ever witnessed. From an athletic standpoint, two people being in sync and just Bird just playing every second. And that's what the Celtics taught us, to play every second.
The steal wasn't just a play, it became an instant classic. Detroit came at Boston with aggression, But Bird's anticipation, precision, and timing turned their energy against them. In one effortless motion, he created a highlight that would be replayed for decades. More than a turnover, it was a statement. In the fiercest rivalry of the era, the Celtics struck with skill, poise, and unforgettable impact. Isaiah Thomas remembers it vividly and called it one of the greatest plays ever done right in front of him.
I never had taken the ball out. That wasn't my thing, right? I throw it up. Bird sneaks in. I didn't even see him. But the thing I remember the most is that joker. This is the out of bounds line. That joker caught the ball, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, he going out of bounds. That dude did this, like a ballerina, right? And if you go back and you watch the play, that dude is on his toes. The baseline is right up under his toes. And in my mind, he must have stood there for about 5 seconds because everything was going in slow motion in my mind. Right?
It all came down to Game 7, the ultimate test of wills between Boston and Detroit. The tension was unbearable, the stakes higher than ever. Larry Bird, already a legend, turned the night into a masterclass. He dropped 37 points, dominating in every way imaginable, scoring, passing, and controlling the pace.
Bird does a "you can't find me" Dennis Rodman, and he comes up, and look at the move. By the time Rodman gets back out to him, Bird uncorks his left hand.
On the brink of a triple-double, Bird wasn't just putting up numbers. He was orchestrating a symphony of Celtics precision against the physical, relentless bad boys. Every shot, every pass, every defensive stop sent a message. The Pistons' aggression and intimidation would no longer dictate the series.
McHale 20 to lead the Celtics. Bird, bullseye, 2 points for Larry Bird. Bird has played the entire game. He has not come out at all in the heat, and I think that's the way he likes it.
And they had Bird guarding Adrian Dantley.
And Bird uses the glass.
From the opening tip, Bird's intensity was unmatched. He attacked the basket, read Detroit's defense like an open book, and found his teammates for perfect opportunities. The Celtics executed with poise, never letting the Pistons' physicality rattle them. Bird's leadership was on full display. His performance wasn't just about stats, it was about control, timing, and making history.
Crunch time, fourth quarter.
And Walton gave it a try for a minute. Bird hits a big one.
By the final buzzer, Boston had ended Detroit's run. With Bird's brilliance at the heart of it all, the sheer dominance wasn't just a victory. They were the culmination of years of rivalry, personal vendettas, and tough matches. The 1987 series didn't just end on the court. It spilled into the headlines. After Detroit eliminated Boston, Isaiah Thomas and Dennis Rodman made remarks that many interpreted as racially charged, sparking a media frenzy and what some called a beef between the teams. A press conference followed with reporters probing both sides, looking for sparks to ignite a story. The comments fueled speculation and added another layer of drama to an already heated rivalry. Larry Bird, however, wasn't interested in the headlines. He didn't engage with the controversy or respond to the remarks. For him, the scoreboard said everything that mattered. Boston had been eliminated. But Bird's focus remained on the game itself, not the media circus.
We lost the game. I got accused of being a racist, and I'm bad guy now.
Isaiah tried to start digging himself out of the hole.
I even looked up the word racist. Do you know the definition of that word?
All he was trying to do at that point was get away from this as quickly as possible. And in his retreat, it got more confusing and more people piled on, and it just turned into one really big mess.
Even after the Celtics closed out the 1987 series, the Bad Boys were far from finished. Detroit had built something more than a team. They had built an identity. Physical, relentless, and fearless. They learned from every loss, every scuffle, and every brush with Boston. Each defeat fueled their determination, sharpening their mental toughness and reinforcing the never-back-down mentality that defined them. Players like Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, and Dennis Rodman became more than teammates. They became a unit built on intimidation, precision, and unity.
When you guys had the bad boy logos and everything, when you wear that, people are going to look at it. Not saying faultly or right. They're going to look at it and go, it's kind of like the Muhammad Ali. I'm big and I'm bad. Yeah. I'm bigger and badder than you. And I'm actually wear it, saying it, I'm bigger and badder than you.
By 1988, the Pistons were no longer just challengers. They were contenders. That year, they eliminated Boston from the playoffs, proving their physical, relentless style could topple even the most skilled teams. Detroit had honed their chemistry, perfected their defensive schemes, and mastered controlling the tempo to wear down opponents. Their toughness, once criticized, had become a weapon that no team could ignore. By 1990, many believed Larry Bird was past his prime. The wear and tear of a decade of intense basketball, plus lingering injuries, made fans and analysts think his best days were behind him. But Bird had other plans. In a matchup against Detroit, he delivered a performance that reminded everyone why he was one of the greatest to ever play the game, dropping 33 points on the Bad Boys. Bird played as if he had turned back the clock, blending precision shooting, court vision, and that signature clutch mentality.
Bird gets the follow-away. First bucket for Larry.
Every basket, every pass, every decision was classic Bird. Calm, calculated, and devastatingly effective. Detroit's physical style couldn't rattle him, and the Pistons, who had once dominated the Celtics, found themselves on the receiving end of Bird's brilliance. It wasn't just a scoring display, it was a statement that he could still control games, still influence outcomes, and still dominate a team that had long been a nemesis.
Bird looking, finds Parrish inside. 2 more for Robert.
That night wasn't just another game. It was a reminder that Larry Bird's basketball IQ, competitiveness, and skill transcended age or wear. Even facing the team that had dethroned Boston years earlier, he proved that when it mattered most, Bird could still take over, leaving Detroit and the league stunned by his enduring greatness. Looking back, Larry Bird didn't mince words about the Bad Boys. They were rough, he admitted, acknowledging the physical, punishing style Detroit brought every night. But while he respected Isaiah Thomas, the skill, the leadership, the competitiveness, there was one player he never could respect: Bill Laimbeer.
He left the bad blood on the court for the most part, but not with Laimbeer. I never really ever liked Laimbeer in any social situation.
No.
Yeah.
And it's because he was a dirty player.
Right.
Now, he had to do what he had to do, I understand that. But you take like Ricky Mahorn, he'd hit you and all that, but he'd hit you, you know you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
But he didn't try to maim you.
Right.
He'll try to hurt you.
Right.
And, he was one of them guys, you shoot a jumper, he tried to slide his foot underneath your ankle so you twist your ankle. And that's why Parrish
Did he really used to do that?
If you watch any of our old games, Parrish was always twisting his ankle against the Pistons. So one time I shot a jumper and Laimbeer did it to me, and I stepped on his foot, but I stepped on a high and twist my ankle. I don't know, a quarter or two later, he was shooting that jumper. I slid mine in there. That's the last time he ever did it.
Really?
Yeah.
The contrast was clear. Bird could admire Thomas for his craft and toughness, understanding the respect that comes with true talent. Laimbeer, in Bird's eyes, represented the kind of physical intimidation and gamesmanship that crossed a line. That distinction says a lot about Bird's competitive code. He respected skill and willpower, but never bad tactics or trying to control the game through intimidation alone. Bird's disdain for Laimbeer went beyond the usual rivalry. It wasn't about bad blood with the team as a whole. It was personal. Even after games, Bird refused to shake Laimbeer's hand, a silent but unmistakable statement about how he viewed the Pistons' enforcer.
Slim and none also seemed to be the Celtics' chances in Game 5 of a playoff against the Pistons in 1987.
In many ways, this perspective captured the essence of the Celtics-Pistons rivalry. It was more than just wins and losses. It was a clash of personalities, styles, and philosophies, where respect was earned on the court, and some actions, no matter how successful, could never change how Bird felt about them. The Celtics-Pistons rivalry was more than a series of games, it was a collision of eras, personalities, and philosophies. From Larry Bird's iconic buzzer beater in 1985 to the high-stakes battles of the late 1980s, every matchup carried weight. Boston's skill, precision, and basketball IQ met Detroit's physicality, intimidation, and relentless energy, creating some of the most compelling basketball the league has ever seen. Moments like Bird's steal in Game 5, Parrish's revenge on Lambeer, and Bird's 37-point Game 7 performance weren't just highlights, they were statements, defining a rivalry that was as personal as it was competitive. Even as Detroit rose to dethrone Boston and claim their place atop the Eastern Conference, the respect between certain players, Bird and Thomas for example, remained intact. Yet Bird's disdain for Lambeer showed that some lines couldn't be crossed. The series, the scuffles, and the unforgettable plays all built a narrative of intensity, resilience, and skill. Looking back, the rivalry represents everything that makes basketball compelling: strategy, emotion, and personalities clashing on the hardwood. For Bird and Boston, it was about proving themselves against one of the toughest teams of the era. For Detroit, it was about rising, learning, and ultimately conquering. In the end, the Celtics-Pistons battles left a legacy that still resonates, a testament to the fierce competitiveness and enduring impact of both teams.